Welkom allemaal weer bij Airbox live op de Boekenbeurs. Vandaag zitten we hier met de Britse schrijfster Jill Mansell. Welcome, Mrs. Mansell. Thanks for being here.
Call me Jill.
Okay, I try. You write chick lit novels.
Yes.
Are your books just for women?
No, not at all. Most men think they won't like to read them, but then when they do, if they're on holiday and they're stuck without anything to read, they'll read one of mine. And then they'll say, oh, actually, I really like that. So when they read them, they do like them.
Oh, that's great. But what do you think of the term chick lit in general?
Oh, well, I don't love it, but it's just a name for the kind of books. Well, but my characters are all ages, so from teenagers up to people in their 70s or 80s. So chick lit's a funny way to describe it, but it's just a story about lives of people of all ages.
Okay. You wrote lots of books. Where do you get your inspiration from?
Everywhere. Coming here, sitting on the plane when I came over here, sitting next to somebody and thinking, what could happen if he was really good looking? Because we hit turbulence in the plane and my drink went flying up into the air and all over me, and and that's what happened in one of my books. That book was about somebody who was really good looking, and
All right.
real life sometimes is a bit of a disappointment.
Yeah, are there more situations that happen to you in real life that you use in your books?
I think so, yes. I mean, all sorts of things. Anything that happens, especially if it's awkward or embarrassing, I'll sort of think, I'll file it away and think, oh, I can use that in a book. But if things happen to friends, or if I'm watching television, or anywhere you go, I eavesdrop and listen to other people's conversations. I'll steal anything. I'll steal any ideas from anybody and we them.
Do you have a good example of one of those things?
There was, one of my friends was getting married, and we were all waiting in the church, and she didn't turn up, and we started to worry. And what had happened was she'd had an argument the night before with the person who was doing the hair and makeup. So the hair and makeup person didn't turn up on the morning of the wedding.
Oh, really?
So she and the bridesmaids all had to do their own thing. So I asked her if I could use it. I don't steal things without telling them, but I asked if I could use that story. So I put it into one of my books. There's usually something from somewhere.
Very funny. Are you a romanticist yourself? Because there's a lot of romance in your books.
I think so. I've been with the same man for 32 years now, so I can remember what it was like to be young. But yeah, I just think there's always possibilities, and I just like happy endings. I like seeing people fall in love. I love that. I watch films, I read books. It's nice.
Is there one character in one of your books that you relate to most to?
When I'm writing a book, it's always those main characters. They're the ones that I relate to, and then I finish writing the book, and then I move on to the next ones. But I always put a lot of myself into the characters. My daughter, when I asked her to read one of my books when she was a teenager, she said, "Oh no, I can't read it. It sounds too much like you." But now she types them for me.
Oh, really?
So she has to read them. But she still says, the characters sound like me. So.
And is there one in specific that you really relate to, or you have some kind of sympathy for?
Well, in my latest book, there's a character of 83 whose name's Zilla, and that was my grandmother's name. She was very stylish and glamorous, so I finally used the name for a stylish and glamorous old lady in the book, and I now want to be her when I grow up and get older.
Yeah?
So I now want to be the character that I wrote about in the book.
That's really nice.
Yeah.
And is there a man in one of your books that you really fall in love with, or?
Oh Oh gosh, there was one, and it was the book that's called something about Miranda, and he was a racing driver, and he was really lovely. His name was Miles, but something sad happened to him, and it was years ago I wrote it, but I still get letters now from people saying, "I can't believe you did that to Miles," because he came to a bit of a sad end.
Aw. Oh. So there were lots of people that have fallen in love with him too.
Oh yes, definitely, yes.
All right. And what love advice would you give to your own children?
To my own children, none at all, because they wouldn't take any advice from me.
No?
I'm just mum. No, I'm very lucky because both my children have only had really nice boyfriend and girlfriends, and they haven't had any particular troubles with them. Because when I was young, I got into all sorts of messes, and I went out with some terrible boys.
Oh.
But no, they haven't done that, so I can't give them advice. I mean, I just think if anybody's thinking if they'd like somebody, choose somebody that you just want to be friends with and you really, really fancy, and somebody that makes you laugh. I think that's always a really nice thing.
Okay. I think that's a beautiful quote to end this. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
And yeah, have a nice flight.
It's been lovely being here. Thank you.
Thank you so much. En ja, dit was dan ons interview met schrijfster Jill Mansell. En hopelijk zien we jullie ook, kijkers, een volgende keer bij Airbox.